there's, what oxygen is, and ultimately flooding your system with oxygen, but really what is the breath?
Mm.
And then you can get real spiritual and deep of what the breath is.
Hi, and welcome back to another episode of the Thrive State podcast. I'm your host, Dr. V, triple board certified MD and performance and longevity expert. And today, once again, an awesome guest. I met him just a few weeks ago where I was in a mastermind group and we did a very special breathwork session. So we had like 100 men, in a huge room, all breathing together. And after going through that experience, it was transformative. Some people felt like they were able to get a lot of clarity in what they needed to do next in life. Some people said that they finally understood their purpose. Some people were able to forgive people that have hurt them in the past and they were holding on to things. And so many people just felt like that moment, in our whole retreat was the defining moment and one of the most transformative experiences in their life. And so that's why I wanted to bring our facilitator, Kurtis Lee Thomas, here on the podcast to tell you a little bit about breath work and to introduce you to a technique that is completely free to do, that has such huge health benefits, performance benefits, longevity benefits. So definitely check it out. If you're new to the podcast, welcome, welcome, welcome. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe, hit the notification button so you don't miss any episodes in the future. And hey, if you're coming back, if you're liking everything you're hearing on this podcast and you want to do us a favor by allowing this podcast to grow, go ahead and leave us a review at ratethispodcast.com/thrivestate. That's really going to help the show grow. Again, super, super excited for you to meet our next guest because this modality will be life-changing. This modality will be the next yoga. Why do I think that to be the case? Well, you get immediate results. Trust me, if you try this out and go through 20 to 30 minutes of breath work, and it's breath work for a reason, it does require work. Some people think it's too hard and there's going to be a lot of thoughts that go through people's mind as they get through it. But once you get to this critical mass and moment where your body is filled with oxygen, you're going to notice a huge, huge transformational healing that happens in your body. So I highly recommend you check it out. So a little bit more about our next guest. Kurtis Lee Thomas is the #1 international best-selling author of The World Is Yours and The Awakening, The Secrets Behind the Secret. Kurtis Lee Thomas is a world-class keynote speaker and corporate mindfulness trainer and has dedicated his career to awakening the best in people by raising consciousness and productivity in the workplace. He has spoken at the largest consciousness experiences in the world, some of the top colleges in the country, multiple Fortune 500 companies, and some of the world's most prestigious casinos, such as Foxwood Resorts and MGM Grand. You've seen him in photos with Oprah, Beyonce, Kanye West, Tony Robbins, Jessica Alba, Deepak Chopra, Sir Richard Branson, and Snoop Dogg. You've seen this guy everywhere, and there's a reason why celebrities, corporate executives, the creme de la creme seek him out and his work because he is just a master at what he does. Kurtis is a celebrity mindfulness mentor who has dedicated his career to the powerful communion of the mind, body, and spiritual healing in the workplace. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for my brother, Kurtis Lee Thomas. Kurtis Lee Thomas, welcome to the Thrive State podcast, brother.
Thank you for having me. Hello, everyone. How are you?
Well, it is super awesome to have you on the podcast because just a few weeks ago, I was sitting in a room with you with 100 other people doing breath work. And I've done it at multiple different levels before, but never have I had such a transformative experience. I believe nearly everybody in that room felt a huge release of emotion, potentially release some pain and trauma. Some people cried, and probably everybody I talked to said that was probably one of the most transformative experience they've ever experienced before in their life. So thank you for leading that and for your gift. And thank you for being here today.
Of course, man. That's music to my ears. This is why I do what I do.
So let's just dive into it. Firstly, I know you were, your story of going through some medical challenges of your own. How did you find breath work?
Oh, man. Pain, and suffering, pretty much. I went through this horrible stomach condition, and pretty much doctors couldn't tell me what was wrong with me. And I went through colonoscopy, endoscopy, swallowed, the pill cameras, everything. And it was getting so frustrating because they were telling me I was perfectly fine. And, there was something happening with my stomach. And I went to my first breath work that I ever been to before. And I was recommended by a Taoist tummy massager. And she told me to try it. And my first breath work, I had this huge release. I ended up crying. Everyone in the room was crying. And for 5 years of suffering with that stomach condition, I went home and my stomach pain was gone overnight. And it just blew my mind, because I'm this like Capricorn. I'm very analytical. Like I got to see it to believe it. And I could not understand after dozens of doctors and thousands in copays and, everything you can imagine from ayahuasca to, combo, frog, healings, all this crazy invasive modalities. And then I go and breathe and it healed me. And, for 3 days I was trying to wrap my head around it. And then I realized, wow, the reason why these doctors couldn't tell me what was wrong with me is because my issue wasn't physical. It was energetic. It was emotional. And when I was able to have that big release, because all crying is a huge emotional release. It's a liberation. So, when I was able to have that, conscious experience, I released weight off of me. And I think that's what a lot of people have to understand is that, sometimes the weight that we need to lose isn't on our physical body. We are truly carrying around emotional baggage and it weighs. So this modality, I got introduced to it and then I kind of put my own spin on it and I founded Breathwork Detox, and I'm a recovering serial entrepreneur. So I got rid of a lot of companies and sold my shares. And I was like, I need to bring this to the world. The world needs to know about this. And then, here I am.
Oh, that's beautiful. So tell me how it's different from, we hear of a lot of breath work that's out there. Some people throw in holotropic. Some people, talk about Wim Hof. How is breathwork detox different from some of these other modalities?
I mean, as long as you're breathing, you're doing good in this world. So that's number one, all modalities, they're little things. They're all different in their way. Just like yoga, there's many modalities. Yoga is the umbrella for Bikram and Yin yoga and all these different kinds. I can't speak on all the other ones, but how I designed Breathwork Detox was my first book that I wrote was on the laws of attraction.
Yeah.
And manifesting. And that was my thing. I was obsessed with it. And what I realized is that everybody here in this room, everybody listening, you are manifesting something. You want to manifest something. You're currently manifesting something. Everybody, we all want things. We want. But what I realized is that, we really need to let go before we can let in. We need to create that space within our energetic field, within our vessel, even physically, to let these blessings come in. And it's very similar to an airplane. An airplane, in order to land or even take off, that runway needs to be cleared.
Yeah.
And if that runway is not cleared, you're not going anywhere. And especially if you're trying to take off, you're not going anywhere. And if you're trying to land, what happens? You have to fly in circles. And that's why a lot of people feel like they're spinning their wheels, because it's not that you need to learn how to manifest or become a better manifester. You just need to clear the space. You need to let go of these old things that you're holding on to, and that could be people, that could be situations, it could be pain, it could be trauma, it could be grudges, because, all grudges is stored stories.
Yes.
We all have our stories, right?
Yeah. So, after attending that breathwork detox session that you led, I was talking to the other guys in the group. And then some people were like, oh, I saw visions. Suddenly I got very, very clear to my vision and purpose. I released so much anger and anxiety. I was able to forgive somebody who hurt me so much. So many different reactions from it. tell me, Kurtis, what have you noticed? Some people would say, okay, I should only seek out breath work if I'm stressed out. And definitely it works for that. But it seems that people are, there's a lot of additional benefits from breath work. Can you list off some of those?
I couldn't begin to list off
Yeah.
because it would take forever, because as a facilitator, I just have such a great relationship with what I do, this modality. And what I believe in my heart of hearts, in my core, is that this modality will give you whatever it is that you need. So if you need clarity, you're going to get clarity. If you need healing and you need to release something, you're going to release something. If you need to forgive and you've been holding on to something for 10, 15, 20 years, in that moment, the breath is going to give you the opportunity to release that, because you're consciously going into that with the intention that you're willing to heal, you're willing to let go, you're willing to try something new. And we all know, old ways don't open new doors. So when you lay down in this mat, whether in person or in virtual, you're going to have an experience. And that's why, I dropped everything and I'm focusing on breath work, because the thing about breath work that's very different than, yoga and meditation is that the results are immediate and they're undeniable within just one session. And that's really good for these times, because we kind of live in a microwave society. Yeah. We want to see results, and we want to see results fast. So this modality is and will be the new yoga.
Well, beautiful. And, I could be a testament. I was in that room with so many people, a few skeptical, and some people have done it before and they were really excited to do it again. And the physiological effects, some people were saying they felt like they were glowing. Some people saw visions. So can you tell us, break down maybe a little bit of the biology of what's happening in the body, and maybe what kind of molecules are allowing people to tap into some of these psychedelic experiences? This episode of the Thrive State podcast is brought to you by the Thrive State Accelerator. The Thrive State Accelerator is actually a home course that I developed using the exact same techniques I work with my celebrity clients, CEOs, and executives on how to get them to the Thrive State. The Thrive State Accelerator teaches you how to master your 7 bioenergetic elements. That's sleep, nutrition, movement, stress and emotional mastery, relationships, our thoughts and mindset, as well as purpose. In this Thrive State Accelerator, you're also going to get a bonus module on optimization. That's how I talk about supplementation, peptides, all the optimization techniques I use with my clients to get them to the Thrive State. Now, for some of you who are just joining us for the first time, you guys might be wondering, what is the Thrive State? Well, the Thrive State is actually the energy, the epigenetic environment we give to ourselves, telling our DNA how to act and how to respond. And if we want optimal health, longevity, and peak performance, if we can master these 7 bioenergetic elements, our ability to have those 3 things that we just said, optimal health, longevity, and peak performance, is at its greatest. And it also prevents you from getting chronic symptoms like brain fog, being overweight, feeling sluggish, acne, pain, all these chronic symptoms, as well as preventing you from getting chronic disease. So getting to that Thrive State is really getting to that state to master being that very best version of yourself, so you could show up for you, for your family, for your business, everything that's important to you. So go ahead, check it out right now at kienvu.com/accelerator and use coupon code podcast25 for 25% off. Now back to the podcast.
Well, there's, what oxygen is, and ultimately flooding your system with oxygen, but really, what is the breath? And then you can get real spiritual and deep of what the breath is. You can go years without sunlight, months without food, weeks without water, but only minutes without the breath. Right. And our breath is our connection to source. Theoretically, we're breathing in the same air right now as Jesus and Buddha and all these, great people. It's the one thing that connects us all right now. So, there is, you talked about creativity. So how does that happen? I don't believe breath work gives you creativity per se. It removes all the blockages and the things getting in the way, blocking you of your creativity. Now, there is some scientific things that are happening because how I explain to people and they begin to think it's like woo woo. And I'm like, hey, listen, you're going to reach a point right around the 10 to 12 minute mark of breath work where you're going to meet your peak resistance. And if you can push past that moment, you're going to break through into this realm, this quantum field where all the answers lie, where you reach this place of peace and equanimity. And what's really happening is actually a scientific term called transient hypofrontality. Mm-hmm. And that's when the prefrontal cortex begins to quiet down. And that's important because that's the part of us that says, you're you, I'm me. This is good, this is bad. It judges everything. It's the monkey mind, it's the critic. And you can quiet that. Ultimately, that is your ego. That is your self, your saboteur.
Yeah.
When you quiet that, it's like, boom, all of a sudden you have a whole new reality in front of you. And it's really reality without that monkey mind. And this is why people experience such profound clarity. Now, as far as the healing aspect, the best way I can explain this, and I'm sure you could understand this. Okay, we all have blood in our bodies, right? So the blood travels through the body with, through arteries and veins and whatnot. And I think we can all agree that we have energy in our bodies. Some sort of, whether you call it chi, or prana or energy, whatever, there is some life force, vital life force that's flowing through us. Well, how does that life force get distributed throughout the body? And it gets distributed through something called nadis. And these are energetic highways. They're energetic pranic channels. And when we get a clog in those nadis, that is what people call, I have a block. I can't manifest it. I don't know. I have a block. It's not in your head. It's in your energetic system. And I had blockages within my nadis. And how I learned this is, we have 72,000 of these nadis that flow through our body that, Western medicine, they don't really talk about or know about because anatomically you cannot cut it open with a knife. But we have it. And there's actually one place in the body where all these 72,000 nadis intersect. It's the Times Square of your energetic system. And that's, guess where? Right here in your gut. Your gut is your power. You want to get mental clarity? Clear your gut. You want to get healthy? 80% of your immune system is in your gut. 80% of your serotonin is produced in the gut. Those are the two things that make us healthy and happy. I don't care how many millions and billions, dollars you got in the bank account, you would never trade it for your health or your happiness.
Beautiful, beautiful. And so many people receive that transformation. Let me ask you something. Do you have an idea of where most people, have stress and trauma enter their life? What exactly is that? And how's a breath allowing people to move out of that? Or release it?
Well, first of all, we're surrounded by stress. We all have stress, everybody here. We all have some form or level of anxiety. Harvard did a study and they said 60 to 90% of all doctors' visits are stress related. 5 years ago, the WHO said that by the year 2020, anxiety would be the #1 disability worldwide. Now that has fully manifested, and that was pre-COVID. So right now, the world is just filled with so much stress, and we hold that stuff in our bodies because the mind tends to think into the future, right? The body holds on to the past. So when you experience trauma or something, even as a child, falling off the swing, getting pointed and laughed at when you were a kid, that's trauma. And what happens is that we don't have necessarily the emotional intelligence as a child to process certain emotions. So what happens is that begins to accumulate and we begin to store those experiences in certain parts of the body. And it builds and it compounds, not in the good way. And when we get our age, we got our lower back's tight, we can't move, we're not flexible, we have all this limited, level of consciousness because we're holding on to so much, we can't manifest our dreams. And we really have to clear our manifesting instrument, and that is the body, and it's not just physical. And this has been my lifelong testimony. We have to clear ourselves energetically. And there's nothing out there, as Freddie said earlier, I've done every modality out there, and there's nothing that clears it faster and more efficiently than the breath. This is why it's so effective. This is why you see in a room full of 100 alpha males. I mean, I could see a different perspective than you were, because I was standing up and everyone was laying down, and you got 100 alpha males in there, and you had about 60 to 70 of them just breaking down silly putty in tears. It's just because they had all these years of just holding on, because, as a alpha male, you have to build that business. You have to take care of your kids, your wife. You have to be strong. And society makes you think that, you're not meant to cry. So we hold all this stuff in, and we're literally holding it. It's not going anywhere. And when you start to do this technique, it's like, whoa, it just pours out, man. And it's like, I see like all my students, all the people I work with, I don't care if you have $1 billion or a dollar. Whenever I see people breathing, I see children, and I really connect with people's inner child. And that's what makes this work so powerful.
Oh, that's so beautiful. That just brought like goosebumps in me, your mission. Really, people work with you in different, capacities. You could find you online doing, solo breathwork sessions, but you also offer a boot camp and some training. Tell us about that.
Oh man, I got it all. Whatever you need, I got it. We do virtual sessions. I do live sessions. Next month, I'm doing a big virtual session for Nike. I work with corporations and bringing this into the workplace. And every new moon and every full moon, so I work on lunar cycles, because there is power behind that. And twice a month, I'll do live virtual events. And people come, and we do just like this, and I guide them through the experience. And I know a couple of people on this call, been to some of them, and it's just as powerful in person as it is virtual. And of course, my new thing the past couple of years has been really teaching people to do exactly what I do. Teaching them everything that I know, not just the breathwork techniques, but the business behind it. And I'm really cultivating leaders and teachers to go out there and do what I do, because I'm only one person, and not a lot of people know about this.
Yeah, well, that's an amazing mission. And just because it's so awesome, just because I love you, I want to come out to your next teacher training. And so if you want to meet Dr. V, come out to the Breathwork Detox next teacher training out there. So where do people find you online? Where do they know when the next classes are virtually? Where do people go?
Yeah, they can go to breathworkdetox.com, breathworkdetox.com. Or if they want to follow me on social media, I am Man from the Stars. And yeah, that's about it.
That's beautiful, man. What is your vision of what this breath will bring to the world?
Healing, unification. I do believe breathwork is the new yoga. And it's like, yeah, I kind of wish, like, I seen this meme one time, and it was just this giant helicopter, and out the back of it was just like dumping DMT all over the world. Like, I would love for that to happen, that people have these profound spiritual experiences, but that's a little invasive, and I've been blessed enough to go into the jungles and, drink ayahuasca with the shamans, but not everyone's for plant medicine. And I get that, but they need the healing, man. So what breathwork is to me, it's the Trojan horse. You're going to get, just as much healing and clarity with breath work, whether it's in the workplace or whether it's at, home. And I think this is really the gateway to people's, not just their own work awakening and healing, but really getting to know the inner part of themselves, which is actually crucial right now, because we live in pivotal times where we're getting sucked into our phones. Yeah. And pretty soon we're going to get sucked into the metaverse, and we're going to get sucked into this digital world, where forget about the external world and really forget about the internal world. And this is our liberation.
That's beautiful. Now, my last question to you is this. I mean, I already know the answer. In fact, I'm not going to let you use the word breath work as a part of the answer, but with everything you've done so far in your life, other than breath work, what has been your best medicine?
I will say journaling is very underrated. Because you really get to connect to the subconscious. You can really get to connect to your shadow. It's a form of shadow work if you're asking yourself the right questions. And that's what it comes down to. So I'll say journaling, man, is really underrated. And, of course, the plant medicines and stuff like that. But I would say, that's my answer.
Journaling and breathwork. Kurtis Lee Thomas, thank you for being on the program. Hey, if you guys haven't tried breathwork before, believe me, this thing, you could do it from your living room. You could go out, watch him live. It's going to transform your life. Whatever you're looking for, if you're looking for clarity, if you're looking for purpose, vision, if you're looking for healing, try it out. It's going to give you what you need. Follow this guy at Man from the Stars and check out his work at breathworkdetox.com. Kurtis, thanks for joining us.
Dr. V, you're the man. Thank you so much.
I hope you enjoyed that episode of the Thrive State podcast. And if this podcast is bringing a lot of value to you, if you find that your life is just improving with this podcast, that your life is getting to the next level, please consider supporting it. And here's a few ways you can do so. You can do so by liking this video and commenting on this video, and also sharing this video with your friends and family. Another thing you can do is go to ratethispodcast.com/ThriveState. Go ahead and leave us a 5-star review there. It will really, really help this show grow. And this will give me more time so that I could actually give more content to you, just like you got in this episode. And if you haven't already picked up a copy of my book, Thrive State, your blueprint for optimal health, longevity, and peak performance, you can pick it up now. It became a #1 new release in longevity. Go to thrivestatebook.com. And if you enjoy the book, please consider leaving us a review as well. And the last thing you can do, if you're liking everything here and you want to work more closely with me as well as my team to get you into the Thrive State, go to kienvu.com/accelerator and consider joining the home course, the Thrive State Accelerator. It's really the course that I use. It's the concepts that I use personally when I work with CEOs, celebrities, and my high-profile clients to get them to the Thrive State. Again, the Thrive State Accelerator at kienvu.com/accelerator. And because you're a listener of this podcast, I want you to save 25% by using the coupon code podcast25. I hope we continue to give value to you. And remember always, you are your best medicine.